Today on Farm Truck Financial, we are going to get female investors excited about financial planning.
Welcome to Farm Truck Financial, where wisdom and wealth ride shotgun. Join Eric Carney, president of Retirement Wealth Advisors, who believes that the best kind of planning happens when four tires hit the road. So hop in. Today, we're talking about investment strategies that drive results.
Farm Truck Financial, we're riding with you.
And welcome back to Farm Truck Financial. And today we are going to talk about women and planning. And this is something that we always get excited about just because it is different for women being prepared for retirement, either getting prepared or in retirement. There are so many different things that change for women. And so planning is crucial. So Donna, let's go over some stats today.
So Eric, and I find these stats amazing. Right now, in the year 2025, do you know that women control 1/3 of the global assets or global wealth?
Mm-hmm.
And by the year 2030, we will control 50% of it.
Oh, wow.
That's a staggering number.
Yeah.
So, but here's what follows that, and this is what really gets me concerned, but also excited. 87% of women would like to have a financial advisor or financial planner, but only 17% do. And overall, we just talked about a stat in another show where 33% of people have a financial planner or a retirement plan.
Right.
That number drops to half when we talk about women. So 17%.
Wow.
And then lastly, and this one really blows my mind, yet I don't find surprising, women who inherit money, usually widows that are inheriting money from a spouse, 70% of them fire their husband's financial advisor in the first year.
Yeah, I definitely believe that. I mean, so what the feedback that we get, and let me tell you something, I love our female clientele. They are the best of the best women out there. We're going to actually have a lot of them on our podcast because what they have done is they have gone through difficult times, health issues, divorce issues, relationship issues, even work issues, and have thrived, you know? And so this is what we want to tell is we want to tell their story. And I will say one thing, I think that our female clients become our very best advocates for other women, right? They're cheering them on. They're like, look, we want you to do better financially. And women do have different issues than men, especially like when it comes to longevity.
Oh, absolutely. Women typically do live longer than men. Women are more likely to have a longer, prolonged long-term care event. I even look in my own family. My grandfather was in a nursing home for 3.5 years. My grandmother, 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah, big difference between the two of them and the longevity. I think women also have a focus more on family, and women are more likely to not just be financial caregivers, but also physical caregivers, which affects their employment and other aspects of their life and their financial life.
Right. So when you have longevity, that amplifies your investment risk. It amplifies the healthcare costs. It amplifies inflation. There's so many different things. What we're seeing is that there's a lot of women who are not prepared for a 95-year-old runway. And so whether it's portfolio management, income planning, healthcare planning, there's a lot of issues that women have. And we have to be prepared for a very long time, but there's just not enough people out there doing planning right now.
I would agree. And I think that's probably, in the stats I shared with you, that such a low percentage of women have a financial planner or a financial advisor that they want to work with.
Right.
The number of people becoming certified financial planners has literally exploded in the last 10 years.
Right.
But here's the stat that hasn't changed. 23% of certified financial planners are women. And it was the same 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so that number hasn't really changed. I mean, I'm definitely in a minority.
Right.
But I think with women, I think they're more comfortable working with another woman. A lot of women are. I don't think overall that women are opposed to working with men, but I think women they want to feel heard and they want their input to count, right? They don't want their goals, regardless of how the advisor may feel about them, they don't want them to be minimized or told that they're wrong. And I
Right.
think that practice has gone on for quite a while, where that's not important enough. You don't need to worry about this. You don't need to focus on that. When in fact, for the client, for the female client, that is what's at the forefront for them. That
Right.
is what they want to talk about. That is what they want to worry about.
Right.
That's what they want to work on.
Yeah, there's no doubt that women are changing, and their attitudes towards money, towards their lifestyle, towards their family, towards transfers of generational wealth are absolutely changing, and they are actually embracing that financial planning with an actual team. So next up, how we can get your financial plan started and how it's going to benefit you.
Do you have questions and concerns about your money, lifestyle, and retirement? Like so many, investors today worry about living expenses, healthcare costs, inflation, and stock market volatility. Instead of worrying, start planning. Eric Carney and his team at Retirement Wealth Advisors want to sit down, get to know you, and start to build a plan that matches your vision and goals. Let's have a real conversation about what's important to you and how we get there. We'll help build you a plan based on your goals, lifestyle, and income needs, with financial clarity over complexity. Call us today for a farm fresh second opinion. Remember, you only retire once, so let's get it right the first time.
And we are back and having a great conversation about women and planning and really getting prepared for retirement. So right now, Donna, what is the difference between men and women when it comes to planning and investing?
Eric, I think that women prioritize different things over men, just generally speaking. I think women prioritize healthcare, family,
Right.
the ability to assist family, and lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, I mean more of experiences
Right.
than I see maybe their male counterparts. Male counterparts tend to be more concerned about a higher rate of return.
Sure.
And I think for women, it's not that they don't want a higher rate of return. It's that they're not willing to chase that higher return at the expense of their own emotional and financial security.
Right. You know what I found lately is both working with men, women, and also couples. What happens is a man will come in and be like a caveman, more money, like higher rate of return. And she's saying, look, I want to travel with my family. I want to spend time. I want to make memories. I want to build my lifestyle. I want to leave my children something. They're actually saying the same thing, right?
They are saying the same thing,
but men are crass, right? I mean, like that's what it is.
I don't even know so much as it's that. I think that men are taught, that to chase the dollar,
Yeah.
right? And chasing those higher returns. So it's not that they don't want the same thing. It's just the order of priority of those things. I think for men, they feel if they get a higher return, then all these other things will fall into place.
Right.
Where for a female, if they can see how all the pieces fit together, where they can see where their collaboration is valued in that relationship with the financial professional, if they can see where they have the ability to help their family and live their lifestyle goals, have those experiences, then they're not as concerned with the rate of return.
Yeah.
I do think you're right in that they want the same thing. I just think how they view it, the lens in which they look at it through, and how they prioritize it is a little bit different.
Yeah. So when I work with a female client, what I do is when I sit down with them, they really do want strategy, transparency, clarity over complexity, right? They want to understand the process of what we're putting them through. And really, what do we have to do in order to build and maintain that lifestyle? And maintaining that lifestyle is probably the biggest crucial thing. And so they really are focused on the power of their dollar to understand that that is actually what supports their lifestyle. That is what actually supports their travel and so forth. And so it is a different breed when you sit down with a woman because they are very intelligent and they want more information. And the financial plan that we go through is more intricate, I think. And a man's like, okay, what is the bottom line here? It's not always about that. And when you're really just looking for a rate of return, the only thing you're trying to do is power your way through that retirement. And that comes with issues, right? And so I think females and planning actually are more strategic and well thought out. The last thing I'll say about that is reactive versus strategic. I think that men can be very reactive. Women are very strategic. It's well planned. It's thought out. It's built for a longer mission, and that's where planning comes in.
Yeah, and we see this, with drops in the market. When was the last time that we had a massive drop in the market that you got a phone call from a woman?
Yeah, that's true.
And the majority of calls that we get are from men who were, oh my God, the sky is falling,
Right.
and they forget very quickly the investment strategies that we have in place in conjunction with their plan so that we can ensure the longevity of their money.
Yeah, the markets go up, the markets go down, the
Correct.
markets move sideways. That's part of the market, right? That's what makes a market. It's the planning that really smooths out that whole process.
Correct. And I think with women do value. They, even if they don't understand finances, I've worked with my share of women who've come in and have said to me, like, I don't know anything about money. And my response is always, I think you know more than you realize.
Yeah.
And my job is to educate you. So let's go on this journey together. And I think when we work like that with a client, with a female client, even with a male client, it doesn't matter. When we're working with them like that, and they're collaborating and they're giving us their input and they're asking questions. Donna, I don't understand this. How do we get from point A to point B? And what does that mean over here? And I can explain it all to them and they understand.
Yeah.
That peace of mind that they have is worth, you can't put a dollar amount on what that's worth, right? Returns come and go. But that peace of mind, if we can maintain that, and not just maintain it by saying, you're going to be okay, you're going to be okay. Because that's one of the complaints that women have. They don't want to be condescended to. They don't want to be just told, it's okay, don't worry about it.
Of course not.
They don't want that, right? They want to understand if they're really going to be okay, show them why.
Right.
And we're able to do that. We're able to show them why.
Yeah.
And when they have that peace of mind, like I said, that replaces, there's no amount of money that can replace that. And it's consistent.
Right.
Because we didn't just look at planning for the next year or 6 months or the next 5 years. We've looked at your entire life.
Right.
We already see the possible issues that could be coming. We're already working towards mitigating or eliminating them. And when they can clearly see that, that's what makes the difference. I've said it before. That's when the magic of planning is realized.
Yeah, it's so powerful. So again, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about more income planning, investing for the benefit of your lifestyle.
You know who has one of the toughest retirements? Procrastinators. You keep telling yourself, yeah, I'm going to get to that. But after months turn into years, you realize that time is one investment you can't buy back. The earlier you start, the longer your money works for you. Stop letting someday steal your future. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Don't let procrastination be the reason you work longer and retire smaller. Call us today for a complimentary review of your finances. And remember, you only retire once. So let's get it right the first time.
Over the next 2 decades, there is a massive transfer of wealth coming down the pike. It's well over $100 trillion. This is expected to be $45 trillion going to daughters, granddaughters, and nieces. And the balance of that is going to be going to wives, girlfriends, and significant others. Donna, I don't think that there's enough people that are prepared for this huge transfer of generational wealth. And we need to get people motivated to do all this financial planning.
Well, $100 trillion is a lot of motivation.
Yeah.
But I think what people need to hear, what women need to hear, okay, is that there are people out there that can help them.
Yeah.
And that this is not a laborious, difficult,
It's fun.
heavy, experience. I always tell clients when I work with them, when I first meet a client, I start working with them, we do something called the discovery meeting. And I always tell them, I think you're really going to enjoy this.
Yes.
And as the pieces start to come together, you're really going to enjoy this. And I would say that the overwhelming majority of people will say something like, yeah, you were right. I was dreading meeting with you. They're always afraid of what I'm going to say,
Yeah.
right? What am I going to say? But it really needs to be framed in the context that the financial professionals that you're working with really are educating you. And they're walking this walk with you, right? And you're learning a new skill set. You're learning about your money and that sense of accomplishment that comes when you, like anything. I just got recently certified as an advanced diver. I feel like a champion,
Right.
that I have that designation. In my day-to-day life, it really makes no difference, right?
Right.
But I know how it makes me feel. And it's the same thing with anything, when you're taking a subject that you don't feel confident about and you're learning that skill set, right? You're picking up on that skill set and you're learning piece by piece, and you have somebody walking with you, not being condescending, saying, here, let me explain, and connecting, starting to connect the dots for you.
Right.
That is a very powerful experience. And what I find too is a lot of folks will go out into the world. They're having dinner with friends, they're seeing family, and they feel like they're speaking intelligently about money.
Yeah.
And that's a direct result of working with us.
Yeah.
I love it when that happens. I absolutely love it when that happens.
That's a huge piece of financial confidence and building the plan, building the income plan, knowing how your investments work. And look, there's a lot of female clients that come into us and they're like, Eric, I want to understand how my money works. How does it operate? What is it actually capable of doing for me? And that's the exciting part. So when we actually educate them and further them into this, and when we build a financial plan and we build that income plan, it's not an income plan, it is their income plan. So again, if you guys have any questions, you can actually go to myincomeplan.com and you can actually download your very own Women's Guide to Investing. It talks about planning, income planning, and so forth. So really go there today, download that. It's your very own guide. You can literally get started with planning in the next couple minutes.
You can. And that's the first step. Once you take the first step, it's a lot easier to kind of continue forward, especially when you have someone or a team, even better, working with you. And if you're working with a good financial professional, they're going to help you assemble that team. Right. They're going to pull in, listen, I know a lot. I am really good at what I do, but there are certain aspects like estate planning. I'm not an attorney.
Right.
Like tax planning. I'm really good at that, but I'm still not a CPA.
Right.
So this is where we need to draw in other professionals. And when we can assemble a team that really elevates your knowledge of your personal financial situation, I think that's really key here. It's not just like what's going on out in the world. It's understanding what's going on in the world and how does that relate to me?
Right.
And understanding that without panicking, without freaking out, without being too conservative or feeling that you have to be too aggressive or not even understanding where the in-between is, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of women without this kind of support end up being unbalanced, right?
Yeah.
Like you and I have talked about, they're far too conservative. They have all their money in cash, or they're far too aggressive where they're invested in a very small amount of high risk stocks without even realizing it.
Right.
They're making decisions with their money that is causing big tax implications.
Right.
There is no balance. So when you're working with somebody who, is more knowledgeable about this and can take you through that journey,
Right.
I think that definitely brings balance back into the equation. And for a lot of people, a lot of women, that's actually really desirable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So everybody out there, if you are a female investor, you are pre-retired, post-retired, you are looking for a financial plan, an income plan, a tax plan, a good, strong portfolio, and also concierge service, go to myincomeplan.com and download your very own guide today. Thanks so much for watching Farm Truck Financial, and we'll see you on the back road soon.
Thanks for riding along with us today. We hope you got some good dirt. If you liked today's show, subscribe, like, and share with all your farm truck friends. We hope you'll join us for the next ride on Farm Truck Financial, where we're always planting seeds for a better future, 1 mile, $1 at a time.
Farm Truck Financial, we're riding with you down the back road steady.